Hello everyone, how are you all? So let's start a story without any further conversation. The birds is the birds is chirping, making the whole room atmosphere is so good as it's morning time. A cute boy just wake up and get ready. He stand in front of the mirror, checking himself. He is so happy as today is coming back home. The door knocked. Come in, Mrs. Park. You are ready, Jimin's son. Mrs. Park, he take care of you. Jimin hopes so mom. Mrs. Park, Minjin is good boy. Jimin ma, if you like him, it means he's. By the way, where is dad? Mrs. Park, he is on the dining table waiting for you. He is so excited to meet his son. Jimin chuckled to see her. Jimin said, Dad, he come in night, not now. Mrs. Park, haha, I will. Room. So I give you a short introduction. Jimin is only one son of Park. His family fixes with his brother's son Minjin, who is coming back from Italy. Jimin him he think so he is happy. They think Jimin and Minjin talk with each other, spend some time together. After that, they do their hmm. Jimin is in. Jimin is in living room talking with his mom as his dad go to take him from airport. Jimin, sometimes I think, mom, what I do there. You are not with me. Mrs. Park, for now, don't think all this as this is your days of enjoyment, okay? Jimin nodded and his father come. Jimin stand up to see him. Mrs. Park smiled to say Manjan him. He didn't look at him. The man who's him like there is not tomorrow. Point of view. I come here with Minjin for some work. Me and Minjin is friends from college time. But when I come, I see someone, I forget about everything. I am just thinking, how can someone is that much beautiful, huh? He's Minjin uncle auntie. He is my friend Yoongi. Work. Mr. Park, sure, son. Why you are asking? This is your house, he said, and Jimin go from there. Mrs. Park, go behind him. Minjin, come, brother, sit. Yoongi nodded to see him. His expression is done. He sit and mate come. She placed the water. Mr. Park, you both must be. I said, Jimin. Jimin, yes, dad. Mr. Park, Jiminson, show them their rooms, and if you want something, tell him. Jimin, okay, dad, you come. Minjin, nice to meet you, Jimin. Jimin smiled. Jimin, me too, Yoongi. In mind, his smile and he think and Jimin look at him, but then look into another side. From when he come here, he's Jimin and Jimin, no, Jimin, I don't know. No. Jimin Shaw, Jimin Shaw mentioned. Jimin Shaw mentioned his room. He come in the room. Jimin, this is your room. If you want something, tell me. He said in lowest Yoongi. Jimin look at him. Jimin, huh? Yoongi, your name? Jimin, Yoongi, nice name. His voice is and Jimin just nodded and he run from there. Yoongi sit on the couch. Yoongi, you will be in my zone. He think and go for fresh up. Jimin come in. Jimin come in the kitchen and drink some water. Mrs. Park, Jimin. Jimin look at Jimin look at his mom. Jimin, yes, mom. Mrs. Park, what you are thinking, son? Jimin, nothing, mom. He said and smiled. Mrs. Park, okay, come here and help me to place to the dishes on the table. Mrs. Park, you see, Minjin friend. Notice anyone except Minjin? Expect Jimin, it's not like that, mom. I don't notice Minjin also, Mrs. Park. But you have to, son. It's about your whole life. Uh, Spend time with him, understand? Jimin or Jimin, okay. Mrs. Park, you serve this soup in the bowl. I call them. she said, and he nodded. Jimin started to serve the soup in the bowl and to think about Yoongi. They all sit on the dining table except Jimin. Mr. Park. Where is Jimin? Mrs. Park Chiang called him to ask something. He is coming. Jimin come and see Minjin sit beside his mom. Only the chair is left which is beside Yoongi. He go and sit on the chair. Yoongi and close his eyes in calmness. Mrs. Park. What she said, Jimin, nothing important, just asking about assignment. Oh, you are still university student. Jimin, yes, I am. Minjun, that's good. What's your plan after study? Jimin, I do job. Minjun, good, he said and smiled. Jimin started to do the dinner. He don't know his feeling while sitting beside Jungi. He may don't know with whom he just sit now, but he can feel the they done with the dinner and go. Jimin is still eating. He eats slowly. Jungi don't move. Minjin, brother, you want coffee? Yoongi, you make Minjin. I will. If you said Jimin, I am done. I make for you both. Minjin, no, Jimin, it's alright. We make Yoongi. Let him make the coffee. Minjin, hey, how can you let your brother to do work? He said while laughing, and Yoongi closed his. Jimin see and look at Yoongi. Jimin, I make the coffee. He go from there. He don't know why he. Jimin come in. Jimin come in the kitchen. His heart is fast asleep. Jimin, what's all this? What he is? How can he react like this? He looks so when Minjun said that, but why I am thinking about this? He said and started to take the ingredients he turned and about to, but Jungi placed his hand on. Jimin is watching him with his widened eyes. Jungi add less sugar in my coffee, he said and take his step back. Jimin away from me. Yoongi reached for each other. He said and got Jimin what he want to say. He think and start to make the coffee. He done with the coffee and call his mom. Said her she give them coffee. He don't go by himself. Jimin is so nervous and he go in his room and lock the room. He said his mom he is going to sleep. Jimin Jimin sit in the living room. He tell his best friend everything, and now he is much better. Mr. and Mrs. Pai go out from the house for some groceries. Minjin come. He see Jimin. Minjin. Jimin, yes. Minjin, where is Uncle Auntie? Jimin, they go for grocery. You want something? Minjin, no. I want to ask you if you like to come with me on dinner. Then ready in evening we go out. Jimin nodded. Minjin, I am going out for some work. See you soon. Jimin, alright, take care. He nodded and go. Jimin again sit on the couch. He becomes so happy. No one is at home, even Chungi. That's why he is happy. Jimin, oh my, I go on dinner. Yes. Jimin is Jimin is in his room. He is deciding his dress and the door knocked. Jimin become who knocked the door like this? He opened the door and see Yoongi stand there. He's looking so. Jimin become he take a step back. Yoongi enter in the room. He's silent. Jimin, you are here. He is by the. He is looking so white now. Yoongi, when I said you wait for each other while to agree to go on the dinner. He made Jimin more. He started to. Yoongi went to him and stand in front of him. Yoongi, remember one thing, Park Jimin. If you go with that Minjin, I will him. You don't know who I am. So it's good for you to listen me. The day I see you remember this, you become I don't mind go with someone. Understand? He said and look at the Yoongi the on the Yoongi everything is to me which is your. Remember this, you are nothing to you are only, and if you don't become by yourself, are you from yourself? He said and Yoongi to him and told him, let's take is hmm he okay, so Yoongi from today, he said and go from the room. Jimin didn't waste time. He closed the door and rolled from his eyes. He don't know what's all happening. It just one day how can someone become, but he don't know he's Min Yoongi. Min Yoongi. Well, our sugar. Eagles. Next text is him that much. He think and run. He stand in front of the mirror and see the witches. He is watching this when the door knocked. Mrs. Park, Jimin's son. Jimin hurriedly wipes and places his dresses in the almirah and open the door. Not before Mrs. Park. What happened, sir? Why you are not opening the door? Jimin, I was sleeping, mom. Mrs. Park, you okay? Jimin, yeah, I just have little Mrs. Park. Minjin tell me just now you are going on dinner with him. It's true. She asked while smiling. Jimin remembered what Yoongi said and what he did. He now don't take Jimin. No, mom, I don't go anywhere. I have. You said, Jim, I am taking rest. We go on some other day. Mrs. Park, it's good, son, if you go. Jimin, no, mom, I don't. Mrs. Park nodded and go. Jimin sit on the bed and roll from his eyes. His life is with him. It's almost 11 p.m. of night. Jimin don't come out from his room. He stand beside the window looking outside. He don't know when Yoongi come. Yoongi is watching him and he places his hand on his Jimin and see him. He take a step back. Yoongi, I am maybe so on you, but I am like this. You have to make this your habit. If you listen me, I don't such anything, Jimin. What you want from me? He asked in low voices. Asked on Yoongi about to wipe the Jimin take his step back. Jimin don't me Yoongi. I don't want anything. Simple want to Jimin. I'm your friend. He said in Yoongi, and Jimin eyes widen. Yoongi, you just said this now. But be careful, this won't happen again. He said and leave him. Jimin gulped. Yoongi, he is to you. It's good if you stay from him and here. This is for you. It's help you to the. He said and gave him the Jimin take the and Yoongi smile to see him and go from the room. Jimin sign and Jimin, I tell Minjin. Tell everything. If you really know Jimin, he is just trying to make him and you become he don't do anything. It's just he is simple person like you and Minjin. He is not some or he think pick the and lay on the bed thinking about Jungi all that and don't know when he fell in sleep. And Jimin come in the living room next to Minjin. Hey Jimin, how are you? Jimin fine and you Minjin. Oh okay, you are going somewhere? Yoongi come there, he look at Jimin. Jimin seeing him but then he look at Minjin with a smile. Jimin University. Minjin. We don't go on dinner last night, so what about we do lunch together? He said and Yoongi eyes is on Jimin. After uni, mention okay, take care, Jimin, you too. हाँ फोन तो क्या kita हाँ he said and turned his see Minjin who was watching him with Jimin didn't see him more and he go from there. Yoongi, you will for this soon to be Benjamin. You take me really easy. Minjin, you are going. Jimin and Taeyang Jimin and Taeyang is talking. When Jimin stops, he sees Yoongi stand in front of him, resting his back with the door of the car. Jimin, what he is doing here? Taeyang, who? Jimin, Yoongi, Taeyang, where? What? Where is he? The one Jimin looked at him. Jiang, come, let's ask him his mom. He said, and they go. Jimin, you are here? You home? Jimin, no, I don't go with you. Minjin, come to pick me. We go on lunch. Yoongi, I think you forget what I said. Jimin, no, I don't. You said you mentioned. Yoongi, so you remember still you are doing this. You want him to. Jimin, I know you can't do anything. You can't someone and not your life. Yoongi folded his hand. He said and hold his hand. Jimin, Yoongi. Yoongi didn't listen him and make him sit on the car and himself sit on the driving seat and start crying. Jiang, oh my, he's or something. If we Jimin, no, I don't think he do. This is as he is behind him. Jiang become. He go to see Jungkook, so he tell him maybe they can help Jimin in his, but they don't know they can't. Yoongi take him in some place and he stop. Jimin stand in front of him, looking here and there. All where is the Jimin? Where you take me? What's all this? Yoongi, Yoongi just gave you. He clap, and the lights on. Jimin become to see so many, and he take his step back, but Yoongi hold his hand. Jimin turn. He become to see a man sit on the chair while on on the edge of. Jimin, he don't know where he go. Yoongi, you think I don't him? I am like this, he said, and let out a Jimin eyes widen to see. And Yoongi point on the. He don't think twice and press the. Yoongi hold his hand and turn him. He see the stand there bowing at Yoongi. Yoongi, everyone why one why and they all are on the ground. So this is really mean Yoongi. Hmm. Jimin is watching all this with his widened eyes. Yoongi, you want to see more? He said in voice. Jimin asked, trying to see him. He is not saying anything but tears. Yoongi says, Yoongi, I really don't want you see all this, but you me, I do all this. You have to understand this is my life, Jimin. From now yours also. Jimin sign as no. Jimin, you are he said, and Yoongi started laughing like a Yoongi. Yes, I am. Min Yoongi is a. I don't mind if you call me this. Jimin is just watching him. Yoongi, you want to see something more? Jimin, I want to go back. Yoongi, stop. He said and wipe his. Jimin, take a step back and wipe his tears. Jimin, drop me home. Yoongi, hold his hand and take him out from him. Drop him home. Hmm. Jimin come in his room. He closed the door and sit on the. He remembered the whole scene and closed his eyes. He don't want to remember something like this. What he is, why him? He is. How can Minjin don't know? Almost 4 to 5 hours. He stay in his room. It's almost night. He know he have to go out. He push up and go out from the room. Jimin come. Mrs. Park, Jimin. You said Minjin, you go on lunch with him and you come home. What's this? Jimin, mom, I feel like I have Mrs. Park. You are not from 2 days. I said your dad to take you to. Jimin, no, mom, I'm fine. I'm sorry, Minjin. Minjin, it's okay, Jimin. Just take care of yourself. Jimin nodded. Jimin, where is dad? Mom, Mrs. Park, don't come us. Listen, she hold his hand and shocked Mrs. Park. Jimin, you have hi son. Jimin, I am fine now, mom. Mrs. Park, no, Minjin son, can you call? He nodded. Mrs. Park, you come with me. Jimin, mom, can I stay in your room today, please? Mrs. Park nodded and take him his room. Minjin also go in the room. He called the who's coming here in 10 minutes. Jimin become and what he see. They come in. They come in the room. Okay, Jimin said he go in his mom room, but after that he come in his room as he remember about Yoongi. He is okay. Give him this much. He will be fine. Mrs. Park nodded and he go. Mrs. Park sits in front of him with the so Mrs. Park, what's happened? What's happening you? Jimin's son, why all this? Jimin, it's okay, mom. Maybe because of San asked Jimin, no, mom. Mrs. Park, take some lesson. If you want something, call me. Jimin nodded and she goes. Jimin is looking outside from the window. He closed his eyes. He don't know when he fell in sleep. Time skip. The room lights is off, but the light of moon making the whole room bright. Jimin, he more and more he's and open his eyes. Hmm. Eyes he see Yoongi and become Yoongi. Take care, Jimin. Why you come here? Go from here, Yoongi. You become to see all this. Think when I see this from the first time, and now what I become. Jimin Yoongi hold his hand and places just. Yoongi, you call me. You think why I become the? He said on his hand. Jimin, just watch him. Yoongi, have you ever think how much I become leave this? Think about a 8 years old boy see all this and he don't have anyone whom he tell on his wrist. Yoongi, take care. You are so mean. Yoongi is. Let's make promise. If you take care of, and if something to you, I will even if it's a little. He said, and Jimin is just watching him. Yoongi, tell me, huh? You promise me, okay? Yeah. You promise me, okay? Then it's promise, he said. Dan looked at Jimin, who's already looking at him. Yoongi, for me, he whispered, and Jimin come in the reality. Look into another side. Yoongi, you are looking at me. Tell me I am. Jimin, go from here. Yoongi, huh? Really? Jimin, go. Yoongi going. Hmm. And go. Jimin sign. Jimin, from when he's in my room, I don't know. He is mumbling, but you remember what he said. You call me, but you don't think how I become like this, Jungi. Jimin, what you want to said, huh? No, Jimin, you don't think about this. Don't forget people who didn't do anything. He go from here soon. After that, you stay happy in your life. Hmm. Jimin come out from the room. He is much better. Jimin, Mama, where are you? Give me something for eating. He said and started to watch the reels. Someone placed food in front of him. Jimin, me. He said his eyes are still on the phone. He don't know who's here. Yoongi smiled to see him and sit in front of him. Jimin looked up. He see Yoongi. Jimin, where is my mama? Yoongi started. Yoongi, they go out for some work. Jimin, which work? Yoongi, they don't tell me, but you tell me about your man so fast. Drink soap. Yoongi, same like Jimin, I do by myself. Yoongi, Jimin, are you? Yoongi, are you too? Jimin, don't call me this. Yoongi, what? Jimin, Yoongi, oh, thanks for calling me. Jimin, see him with his stern face. Jimin, when you go back? When you go back? Yoongi, why? Jimin, so I stay here peacefully. Yoongi, look at him. Jimin, Yoongi, I do with you and take you with me. Jimin, if I Yoongi, you don't. Jimin, you me too. Yoongi, I make you for me. Jimin, this is never gonna happen. Yoongi, if it's happened, Jimin, I myself my feelings. Yoongi, okay then. Min, Jimin, it's Park. Jimin, Yoongi, soon to be Min. Jimin, Jimin. Why you are like this? He finally asked Yoongi. See him and smile. Yoongi, I am not like this, trust me. He said and Minjin come. Minjin, what you both are talking about? Yoongi, nothing, you are here. Minjin, I go in your room to see you, but you were not there, so I come here so to see you. Jimin, I am hungry, so I come to eat something. Minjin, oh Yoongi, when you have to go back? Yoongi, why? Minjin, I also have to go back, so I sent my mom dad for fixing the. He said, and Jimin looked at Yoongi. He placed his hand on Yoongi's hand. Yoongi looked at him. Jimin, but I don't think we know each other enough till now, Minjin. But I think it's enough, as it's almost 4 Yes, we are. Jimin, still, this is too early. I don't do now. Minjun, you take your time, think about this, Jiminy, and then tell me. Yoongi closes Jimin. Jimin, I no need to, sir. Minjun, but not now. Minjun, it's alright, Yoongi. We go back. Jimin, why that much early? Minjun, you don't want me to go, and also not ready for what you exactly want, Jimin. Jimin, I want you stay here, but for now not. So I get more time to understand you, he said, and he looked at Yoongi, who's just because Jimin hold his hand. He stand up and go from there. Minjun phone start ringing. Minjun, you think and tell me, Jimin. I can't wait more. Hope so you understand. He said and got Jimin in mind. Oh no, if I said Yoongi, then if I said yes, then Yoongi don't even think I have to with Yoongi about this. But what I said him, if he asks me for what I do, hmm. Jimin enter Jimin enter in the room. He stop on his place when he see the room. The whole room is he look at Yoongi who sit on the bed and it's from his hand. He run to him and hold his hand. Yoongi look at Jimin with his Yoongi go from here. Jimin sign as no Jimin. Your hand Yoongi I don't want to. You go from here Jimin Yoongi your Yoongi I said go. He and Jimin run from there. Yoongi in mind. I said to you, Jimin, no. Jimin, how can I forget how much my world? I am just taking you. This is not. I don't see you with someone else. I know if I see the person, that's why I myself whenever you go from me. How can I forget I am Min Yoongi is not he think and close his eyes. Come in, Jimin, come in. Jimin, come in the room. He sits on the bed. Jimin in mind, how much you feel, Yoongi, just by the thought of me. Why are you like this? Why your life is so? Who make you like this, Yoongi? I want answer. I want an answer of my every question. If I have to, I do. You are Jimin, come in. Jimin come in the room. It's almost 1 a.m. of the night. He see the room is same. Yoongi don't even do the dinner. Jimin went to him. Yoongi sit on the Jimin go. And this is the third last scene. Jimin go and sit beside him. He hold his hand and see the on his hand. Yoongi look at Jimin who is saying the and then take the 29, 30, 31, 32, 35, 5. Watching him from sometimes he done with the and see the room. He clean the room, place the things on their places, and then see Yoongi Jimin sit in front of him with the food. Jimin, you will the like this if you sit here. Jimin, I with you. Yoongi see him. Yoongi no, Jimin, I do. Leave all this. You can go from here. You go and him. Minjun, I don't said anything. He said and look into another side. Jimin him places hand. Jimin, you me as Yoongi. Don't forget this, Yoongi. No, Jimin, this is not true. Forget all this. Forget all this and stay happy in your life. He said and stand up, but Jimin still sit on his place. Jimin, but I want to not change. Jimin, I do with you. Yoongi, you are not understanding, Jimin. You don't know my world is so you can't even imagine I am. Jimin, I do with you. He said while looking down. Yoongi, go from here. Jimin stays silent. Yoongi, I said go back. I go back tomorrow. He said and fall from Jimin eyes. Yoongi in mind. I may you, Jimin, but in future you will not buy this. Yoongi go from my room. Jimin didn't say anything. Yoongi hold his hand and stand up. Yoongi go from here. He said out him from the room. Jimin see him stand there. He closed the door and himself sits there. He and after a long time. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Second last scene. Yoongi come in the kitchen next to Mrs. He see Mrs. Park. Yoongi, everything okay, ma'am? Mrs. Park, son, I don't find Jimin. He is not in his room. Yoongi, where he go at this time? Mrs. Park don't know. His dad also go to see him. Yoongi, okay, auntie, I go. Last scene. Yoongi come out from the car. He see Jimin sit on the side. He signed and went to him. Jimin look up. He see Yoongi. Jimin, Yoongi, you come. He said and stand up. Yoongi, what is this, Jimin? You are kid. You start to do this. Jimin, you search me by yourself. You don't see me to someone, so I also don't see you are going to me here. That's why I come here and I don't back. Go back. Look at third last text. Last in a third last text. Look at Yoongi with this. Yoongi, don't go. He said he's on the edge of Yoongi. No, Jimin, you can't in my world. Jimin, I do. You stay with me, so I do. Yoongi, but Jimin, you don't know anything. Jimin, I know everything. What you said. What you said last in the third last text. The as your father, he said, and Yoongi chuckled to same Yoongi, he said, and Yoongi, from when you are here, Jimin, last night, Yoongi, don't do this again. Jimin, why you do this? You make me. And now going, Jimin, Yoongi, I realize my word is Jimin. We make bright together. Yoongi back, he see Jimin, who hold his hand confidently. Second last text, Yoongi, you sure you can? Sure, you can hold this hand. Jimin nodded. Jimin, I will forever. Yoongi, think once again. Jimin, I do. Yoongi, sure. Jimin nodded twice. Yoongi, come now. Your mom is waiting for you. Jimin san as no, he's looking so cute. Well, right now. Jimin, no, I go with you. Yoongi, but your mom. Jimin, you are. It's not affect you if you your ticket. You don't go anywhere. Last scene and the last text to sit again. Yoongi, okay, okay, come with me, let's go. I don't go anywhere, he said. Then Jimin smiled. Yoongi, let's go back. Your mom is waiting for you. Jimin nodded and they go, oh, so now I know you're Min Yoongi. Now see what I do. Huh? I take my from you. He come in his now see. He don't even know. Bye. It's finished finally. Bye bye.